For the first quarter of an hour, Stephen had dutifully peered through the peephole at the intervals of 1 minute or so, and after that, every 2 minutes. So what it means that first 15 minutes of an hour, Stephen has duty to watch over Evans, as ordered by the governor. So Stephen looked carefully through the peephole at intervals for the first minute, and later every after 2 minutes. Then, at 10:45 a.m., everything was still alright as he looked through the peephole once more. It took 4 or 5 seconds and no more. What was the point? It was always more or less the same. So what it means that at 10:45 a.m., Stephen looked through the peephole once more, and everything was alright. It took only 4 or 5 seconds to watch through that peephole. So whenever he watched through that peephole, everything was same. As Evans, his pen between his lips and staring straight in front of him towards the door, like he's seeking some sort of needed inspiration from somewhere. And opposite of him, McLeary was seated there at slightly bent from the table, and his face seems only half as he were reading the newspaper named the Church Times, and his haircut were very similar to the Evans, as Evans has already shaved and cut the hair. So McLeary reading the newspaper, and his right index finger hooked beneath his collar, and his left hand were slowly stroking around his black beard. So around 10:50 a.m., Stephen heard a little sound, and he realized he almost forgotten about Evans for a few minutes. And while then, Evans were asking, please sir, would you mind if I put a blanket around me shoulders, sir? It's a bit perky in era, isn't it? So Evans were asking that it's a little bit cold here, and if mind, he will put a blanket around him. Then McLeary replied that be quick about it.
Good morning, everyone. Today I will explain page number 80. At 10:51 a.m., Stephen was more than a little surprised to see a grey regulation blanket wrapped around Evan's shoulder. So at 10:51 a.m., when Stephen peeped inside, he was surprised to see something because he saw that the examined Evans had covered himself with a grey regulation blanket. And he frowned slightly and looked at the examiner more closely. He just looked once again very closely to see Evans. But Evans, the pen still between his teeth, was staring just as vacantly as before. But he could see that Evans was same, only the blanket was around him, but still had the pencil in his mouth. Blankly beneath the blanket, should Stephen report the slide irregularly? So Stephen was wondering he should report this because this is not as a usual thing he had seen with a blanket. Anything at all fishy, had Jackson said. He also remembered Jackson order, if you anything seen fishy, you have to report. He looked through a peephole once again. So once again he looked again, make sure that everything is okay. He found that exam was even worse, pulling blanket closer to him to keep warm. And even as he did so, Evans pulled the dirty blanket more closely to him. Was he planning a certain Batman leap to suffocate McLear in the blanket? So Stephens wanted that he would jump like a Stephens and suffocate McLear with the blanket. Don't be daft. Stephen said to himself, not to be stupid. Daft means stupid or foolish. Uh, There was never any sun of this side of the prison, no heating either during the summer month, and it could get quite chilly in some of the cell. Stephen was trying that console himself. This part of the prison was very cold because there's no sunlight, uh, uh, rarely cold, and that's why Evans wear the blanket. Stephen decided to revert to his earlier every minute observation. At 11:20 a.m., the receiver once more crackled across the silence of the governor's office. At 11:20 a.m., the phone bell rang in the governor's office, and McLeary informed Evans that only 5 minutes remained. McLeary informed Evans that only 5 minutes left for the exam to get complete. The examination was almost over now, but something still now away quietly in the governor's mind. He reached for the phone once more. Uh, so, um, at 11:22 a.m., Jackson shouted along the corridor to Stephen. The governor wanted to speak with him. At 11:22 a.m., the governor's call rooms once he wanted to speak with Stephen, and Jackson shouted to Stephen that governor want to speak with you. Stephen's hurry, man. Stephen picked up the phone apprehensively and listened to the rapidly spoken order. Stephen picked up the phone, quite afraid. Apprehensive means quite afraid, and quite afraid, and what the government want to say. Stephen himself, and he picked the phone and listened to the government had ordered to him. Stephen himself was to accompany McLeary to the main prison's gate. Government ordered to Stephen that after exam himself was to accompany McLeary to the main prison gates. Understood? Stephen personally wants to make absolutely sure that the door was locked in events after McLeary had left his cell. After that, events come out from the room, should be locked the door, and he doesn't escape. These two were the order from the government to Stephen. Understood? At 11:25 a.m., the governor heard the final exchange. At 11:25, examination was over, and governor heard a conversation between the McLeary and Evans. Thank you.
McLeary, stop writing, please. Silence. McLeary, put your sheet in order and see they are correctly numbered. Silence. Scrubbing of chairs and tables. Evans. Thank you very much, sir. McLeary. Right, was it? Evans. Not too bad. McLeary. Good. Mr. Stephen? The governor heard the door clang for the last time. The examination was over. How did he get on, do you think? Asked Stephen as he walked beside McLeary to the main gate. Oh, I cannot think. He's distinguished himself, I'm afraid. His coat action seemed broader than ever, and his long black overcoat reaching almost to his knees fostered the illusion that he had suddenly grown slimmer. These paragraphs tell us that when the exam was over, McLeary asked Evan to stop writing. He also told him to arrange his sheet in order. McLeary asked Evan how his exam was. Evan replied that it was not too bad. He then called Mr. Stephen, and Mr. Stephen asked McLary, "Did Evan's exam go well?" McLary said he didn't think so. So, while talking with him, Stephen felt that McLary's Scottish accent seemed a bit different from the earlier one. Moreover, his overcoat was now reaching close to his knees, leading to the imagination that he had suddenly turned slim. Stephen felt pleased that the governor had asked him and not Jackson to see McLary off the premises. And all in all, the morning had gone pretty well. But something stopped him from making his way directly to the canteen for a belated cup of coffee. He wanted to take just one last look at Evans. It was like a program he had seen on TV about a woman who could never really convince herself that she had locked the front door when she had gone to bed. Often she had got up 12, 15, sometimes 20 times to check the bolt. This paragraph tells us that after the exam was over, Governor called Stephen to accompany McLary to take him to the main gate, and all in all, the morning had gone pretty well. When he was on a way to the canteen for an overdue cup of coffee, he wanted to see Evan for one last time, even though he had locked the door. It seemed to him like a TV program in which the lady is never assured or never convinced herself of locking the door before going to the bed. And because of that, she used to get up 12, 15, or even 20 times to check the bolts.
Greetings to all. I'm going to explain the incident that happened after Stephen had accompanied McLeary to the main gate. Stephen was in a relaxed mood as everything passed smoothly, so he thought for a cup of tea, but before he could sip a cup of tea, he thought to have a look on Evan. So he went to Evan's cell and peeped through the hole and cried, "Oh no, Christ, no," as he was shocked to see a terrible sight inside. There was a man lying back on Evan's chair and his blanket slipping from his shoulder. For a few seconds Stephen thought it must be Evan, but it was McLeary. The blood was dripping from his head and spreading over his white collars. In reality, it was Evan who acted as McLeary to escape from prison. Question number 1. Who was Reverend Stott McLeary? Did he really come to prison to invigilate? Reverend Stott McLeary was a person from St. Mary's, is sent to Oxford Prison to act as an invigilator for Evan's O-level German exam. He has a short choppy haircut and wears a clerical shirt, glasses and long coat. The man who came to invigilate was one of Evan's friends, not McLeary. The real McLeary was found securely tied up in his own apartment since 8:15 a.m.
Morning everyone. So here I am going to answer to the question number 2 and 3. Question number 2. The Jackson found a puzzling things in a McLary suitcase. How did the McLary explain it? Answer. One of the objects in a McLary suitcase was puzzling the Jacksons sorely. There was small semi-inflated rubber ring. It was about 12 inches in diameter. McLary explained that he is suffering from hemorrhoid. He needs the rubber ring when he sits down for some length of time. In a brief, it means that the Jackson found something amazing or puzzling things in a McLary suitcase, and it is rubber ring. And the McLary said that he is suffering from hemorrhoid, so he needs the rubber ring to sit on it for a long period of time. Here are the picture of rubber ring and suitcase. Question number 3. Why Stephen was later surprised to see a grey regulation blanket wrapped around the Ewan's shoulder. Answer. At 10:50 a.m., the governor got a ring. Ewan requested him to put a blanket around his shoulder. It was a bit cold in the cell. At 10:51 a.m., Stephen was later surprised to see a grey regulation blanket wrapped around the Ewan's shoulder. He got worried and annoyed. He feared that Ewan could plan a sudden Batman leaps to suffocate the McLary. So in here it says that the Stephen was a little bit surprising when he saw a grey regulation blanket wrapped around Ewan's shoulder. He knew that Ewan was a dangerous person and a smart person, so that he was little get confusions about whether he used that blanket to suffocate the McLary's life. So my caution stop here and thank you.
The front door. Question number 4. Why is Stephen compared to a woman who would get up 20 times to check that she had locked the front door, and also why did he rush the cell? Answer. Stephen is a man of unconvincing nature. It says Stephen is very unconvincing in his nature. Here, unconvincing means he would barely trust others, or he should be convinced of what he had done. For example, we gave him a walk, and he had already done it, but still he would go and check it again and again, whether he had done it properly or not, or to make it sure. He was asked to accompany McLary to the main prison gate. One of his seniors asked him to go along with McLary to the main prison gate. He was to make sure that the door was locked on Evans after McLary had left the prison or the cell. Stephen was behaving like a whimsical woman. Here it says Stephen was compared to a woman like whimsical woman. Here whimsical woman means very impulsive, inconstant, or he just can't stay at one place, and he just keep moving here and there. So he was compared to a whimsical woman, and it says Stephen was behaving like a whimsical woman. He would check 20 times that he had locked the door. He rushed to the cell, or he rushed to the prison of Evans to make sure that it was properly locked. Question number 5. Why did Stephen cry or shout when he opened the peephole of Evans' cell or prison? Answer. Stephen made his way to Evans' cell or prison. He opened the peephole once more. He cried or shouted or yelled, "Oh no, Christ no!" There lay a man. Oh, he saw a man with his head smothered in blood in Evans' chair. For a second, Stephen thought it might or it must be Evans, but soon he realized or he noticed that the man was McLary, and he raised an alarm and called the police.